Thank you guys very much for being here. Luckily for these guys, they're used to hearing Miss Giessler and I talk all day, every day, so they only get us for 9 minutes now. It's awesome to see these videos because at no time were the ideas or the visions steered away from something. You know, Derek didn't know that Mark was going to mention the goal of Fort Wayne in the riverfront, and Erin with equine therapy. That wasn't something Miss Giessler said to her, hey, you should do this. And so as we look at education in Fort Wayne, we really want to challenge our community to rethink how we approach it and where we come from with that. So as we look, I want you to think about 3 things. So think about your school experience. If you could define your school experience, I want you to think about these 3 questions. What would you learn? How would you learn? And how would you feel? And our goal today is to show you that in our community, we should give our students that same power, that same responsibility to create that vision for themselves. At New Tech, we are a smaller learning community, but we take a different approach to how we look at education. Ken Robinson, famous education TED Talk, looks at how can we offer opportunities to look at our youth in our community and not necessarily tell them what to do, but to give them the opportunity to harness their own creativity and then put it into action. So obviously, the age-old paradigm in education. Sit in rows, read out of a book. How do we change that? And so looking at education in Fort Wayne and where we can go, we want you to rethink how we can approach teaching our students, but also their role in our community. And we can do that in 3 ways. Looking at the culture in our schools, looking at the community in our schools, and as well as what skills are necessary for our students to be successful once they leave. So Ginger's going to talk about the culture aspect a little bit.
So once we began our school as a staff of 6, and we had teachers from 12 years to brand new, by the way, we began to think about what would be our ideal school. So we began with, we know it has to be the culture. So we started with trust, respect, and responsibility. And when you talk to our students today, they can talk more about that and what that means in their perspective too. But we knew initially that trust was the most important because we have to trust them to make an opinion, and we have to trust their opinion and let them go with it and make the decisions as they go. We also give them student voice as they create things, and they give us feedback on our assessments and our projects. So when they come in on their first day, they give it a project. So freshmen walk in, it's called PBL, Project-Based Learning. We give them a real-life problem to solve. And they go through this process of telling us kind of what they need to know. We don't say, here's your lesson, here you go, this is your worksheet, finish it, turn it in. So for instance, the TEDx video, the entry event for them was what TEDx gave us. This is what TEDx is looking for. How would you like to rethink Fort Wayne? So they started brainstorming. So we guide them through brainstorming sessions. And I just do guided questions. So one student might have a brainstorm idea, and then we start branching it off and doing kind of a brain map on a whiteboard. And they start coming up with more ideas. And then they went to their outlines, and they kind of outlined their idea, and then got feedback on that. And then in the end, they practiced their video, and they created their videos. They had to find students to videotape it. They had to find students to peer edit it. And that is where all that trust kind of built in that PBL system. So everything is project-based in our school. Classes are integrated also. And within this culture, then, that's where that flexibility and communication piece comes in. And I can tell you 4 minutes is not enough time for me to go through all this with you, so we're just going to touch on it. And we also have norms and core language. So when you walk into our school, I guess the best way for me to sum it up quickly is what you see in here. You do not see locks on lockers. You do not hear bells. Our classrooms are all glassed in, windows, glass doors. Everybody sees what everyone else is doing. They're working collaboratively. You will not see a teacher standing in the center of a room. we all co-teach. And we will be sitting at a table. You may not even be able to find us. We may have ran downstairs to help somebody with something because we can trust them in the classroom by themselves. You will see our students introducing themselves to you as you walk in the building and asking what you would like to know about new tech. You will also see maybe family time where all our kids are together in the auditorium awarding each other on things such as integrity, success, harmony, being able to hope. Don't lose that hope that you can make it through this system. So it's not a culture that you are probably familiar with in your school days. It is totally different. And it probably mimics some of your work environments. And that is our goal, to empower them through that culture.
I love that the theme for this morning, as you look at Mac and Mark and Dr. Glad and Aaron, is community. And so we look at what role do we play in rethinking education. You laugh as you think, what our students see and what we think they see are completely opposite. You may tell them something, or you may think that they see an opportunity when what they see is so far beyond or opposite of what you think. Last year I had the opportunity to work with the Chamber on creating a visual for what the history of the Chamber of Commerce in Fort Wayne was like. We took 12 kids down town to the library. Of those 12, 4 of them, it was their first time actually sitting downtown. They had driven through it, but they'd never experienced being in our city. And so that challenge, as you look, as I see, people like Alex and Nick and Steve Franks that have been involved, what can we do to create opportunities for our kids not only to experience this community, but take charge of it? And so as we look at, whether it be opportunities to even experience it, or a couple weeks ago I worked with AEP on a project to redesign One Summit Square, just to get them to think what is valuable in Fort Wayne to them. And so you look at those opportunities and kind of where we can go with those, and it's not in a textbook. We all know what happened in the American Revolution, but it's how can we apply those things to our lives today? How can we apply them to the spaces in our community, the people in our community, and what role can you have to break down those walls of the school? Because it isn't an adult kid thing. It isn't a community, a business school thing, but it's a Fort Wayne thing. And it's really, how do we change that focus to keep our new millennials in this community, and not only keep them here, but want them to be here. And so as we look at those skills, it takes a different approach to really look at how you teach for the next century.
Yes. So when we assess students, we don't assess them on what you would traditionally think. This is your math content, this is your writing content, this is your science content. All our courses are integrated, because what we want our students to walk away with is when you get a job, when you go to college, things aren't compartmentalized. They're all assessed together, and you use all these skills together. They're integrated. So the students, when they do projects, for instance, I teach Bio-Lit, English 10, and biology is integrated. When they finish a project, they get more than one assessment. They're assessed on written communication, oral communication, on work ethic. Was the assignment on time? Did you have more than 3 drafts? To show that perseverance. So, and if you can see here, this is what 21st century employers are looking for too. So we aligned that with what employers are looking for. Their oral communication is key, but we don't always assess the oral communication. This is where you can play a big part in our school. We're always looking for outside evaluators to assess the oral communication on presentations or interviews, or even coming to your place of business so they can get a feel for what is that like. So it gives them that real life experience. So nothing is compartmentalized. All their projects come together in the end, and they're assessed collectively by those skills, and they all go together. We also have GeoCAD and geometry, which is geometry and AutoCAD together. We have a lot of them. We would really invite you to come out and talk to the kids and us about our school. We'd love for you to be a part of our school. Please talk to us today. We love it, and we would like for you to really connect and help us promote.